Bitter criticism. Reading something ready-made critic, some ready-made criticism from I still don't know where. Maybe let's read what happened to Syria on Al Jazeera. Live updates. Syrian opposition grants army soldiers amnesty after fall of al-Assad. The new administration is promising to uphold state institutions after capturing the capital, Damascus, by Alice Sperry, Virginia Pietromarchi, December 8, 2024. Updated a day ago, and this is the summary. Syria's new administration moves to form government is expected to announce head of transition. The opposition forces who have overthrown President Bashar al-Assad say they are granting amnesty to all military personnel conscripted into service under the former ruler. Rescue teams and relatives of disappeared people are searching for their loved ones in the notorious Sednaya prison in Damascus after the fall of al-Assad's government. The Kremlin confirms al-Assad has been given asylum in Russia after fleeing a lightning advance by opposition forces. Israel says it has seized territory in Syrian-controlled areas of the Golan Heights and hid weapon sites in the country. In his first speech since seizing Damascus, Ahmad al-Shara also referred to as Abu Mohammed al-Julani, leader of the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, says al-Assad's fall in the beginning of the beginning of a new history for the region. I guess it's a new Western controlled history. Monday, December 9, today, a minute ago. Hezbollah condemns Israeli strikes on Syria. Lebanon's Hezbollah group has condemned increased Israeli strikes on Syria and said it stood by the country's people in its first comment since rebels overthrew the group's ally, former President Bashar al-Assad. Hezbollah lambasted Israel for quote, occupying more land in the Golan Heights, unquote, where it moved troops into a buffer zone after Assad fell, and for, quote, striking and destroying the defensive capabilities of the Syrian state, unquote. Quote, while we affirm our support for Syria and its people, we stress the necessity to preserve Syria's unity, it added. The statement makes no mention of al-Assad. And then 16 minutes ago, photos, curfew in Damascus. Syria's rebel forces announced a nighttime curfew in Damascus after they took control of the country. This is the second night the curfew is in effect. People walk past closed shops during curfew in Damascus. So, photographs. Second one, a vendor waits for customers next to his shop during curfew in Damascus. And a third one, a man walks by a closed shop painted with a Syrian flag during curfew in Damascus. That's it. And 34 minutes ago, Germany, France conditionally ready to cooperate with new Syria leaders. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and French President Emmanuel Macron have discussed the possibility of cooperating with Syria's new leaders. The German Chancellery has said, quote, both agreed that they were ready to cooperate with the new leadership on the basis of fundamental human rights and the protection of ethnic and religious minorities, Berlin said in a statement. Just like that, 1 hour ago, one of the big potential losers here is going to be the Kurds. At least 3 civilians were killed during protests in northern Syria as people there took to the street to demand the expulsion of the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces. Colin Clark, a director of research at the Southern Center, a global security consultancy, told Al Jazeera the developments were inevitable. Quote, "When we start trying to divide up who the winner and who the losers are from the overthrow of the Al-Assad regime, one of the big potential losers here is going to be the Kurds, and one of the big potential winners is going to be Turkey. As we know, the Kurds and the Turks have historic animosity, and Erdogan is likely to use the current impasse to push for more leverage to go after the Kurds," unquote. The Kurds have long been backed by the United States, leading to a situation in which, quote, "you have 2 NATO allies backing different proxy groups in what's going to be a very complex situation going forward," Clark added. Quote, "A lot of analysts want to focus on the joy that Syrians are experiencing with freedom for the first time in 5 decades. And that's absolutely heartwarming, but the hard part now begins, which is putting together a cohesive entity to govern the country." Maybe, I had the same thought that maybe Assad was not so great, but what's going on now? I was listening to a podcast. Russia is worried about the only port outside Russia, I guess, the only port in the Mediterranean Sea. So there's a lot of geopolitical interest always everywhere.